Yeah. Uh, so very good morning to all of you. Yes, I would like to thank Vivek, Monica, Rohit for allowing me to speak on this platform. And I am actually intellectually a little bit much better, from the time I came here. I came early and I attended one session by Rohit, and it was like, for me, yeah, every event that I tend to learn more. Yeah, I think it will eventually help your Digiyatra journey as well. Uh, so, Monica, you said about data feeding into AI, right? And we have done that, and what does it do next? What does it achieve eventually? That is what I'm going to speak about, and that's superlative customer experience. So, for a change, somebody in the industry began to actually think of what is the pain point of a passenger and how do we enable that passenger's journey in a much more seamless way. This is the story of Digiyatra. It's been a long journey, and I'll maybe quickly walk you through. I think I don't have the journey slide, but maybe I'll walk you through the whole steps that we have taken. So because it was data and AI, I was forced to put this, right? But I generally start with my vision and objective slide, where I speak about what we tried to achieve with Digiyatra. And it didn't start with Digiyatra as the name. There was something else, and it was more of an airport loyalty program that we were starting, which eventually scaled up pan-India. And we have got future vision for it to scale up to a global proportion. So I'll explain briefly about the process flow, how it has changed travel, and I don't perhaps need to speak too much about that because you have already experienced it. I got people who are like die-hard fans of Digiyatra, and sometimes I find it very convenient for me because earlier on social media, whenever I used to get bashed, I had to respond, right? I don't have to do that these days because I got one or the other supporter who starts to, already do that bashing. There are two zeros if you see on the slide, and that is an important message that I would like to leave behind, right? And this is primarily because you all know that there is DPDPA, which is going to be enforced next year. And what does DPDPA mean to so many various agencies, entities who process data, who are data fiduciaries? It means there is a huge amount of risk that they carry, penalties, right? For loss of data, leakage of data, theft of data, whatever. And here is something that we have done where we have mitigated all those risks. So the zeros will be very important, right, for everyone in the future. We follow a concept called as privacy by design. There are 7 fundamental tenets. I won't go into all of them, but that's another thing that, in this data-hungry world where data feeds into AI, there is always that risk of personally identifiable information being misused, right? So we have to take care of all those. I'll speak a little bit about my future plans as well. So this is, I think, just the starting slide for me to sort of ignite the spark in your mind, right? We said that we want to give a memorable experience, a delightful experience to passengers, completely contactless. And contactless came in because we had the pandemic, right? And pandemic got a totally different behavior change in everyone. People were wary of touching any public device. People were wary of exchanging documents. All that behavioral change. So this is completely contactless ecosystem that we have built. It's secure and private, and that's something which I would like to leave a message about as well. And how this has actually started to, so these were various aspects of the customer journey that we wanted, right? And how we made it enable. I'll walk you through that whole journey. So a walk in the park experience where nobody stops you. When you're walking in the park, nobody actually stops you, or you just continue, right? So how can an airport experience become like that, where you don't have to stop for anything, no checks, you just walk through each touch point without getting hassled about anything. And there was this interaction I was having with an industry colleague, and she was saying, she was a frequent flyer, and she was saying that, Suresh, when I go for any travel, there is a presentation that I'm going to give to someone. And in my mind, all those thoughts about how I'm going to pitch, right, all that is going on. And imagine when I'm entering into the airport, for some or the other reason, you get into an altercation with either the airline staff or the security staff. Your name is not matching, or your photo does not look to be the same, etc., etc. You don't want to get into that. Your thought process, gets disaligned. So she said that I just don't want to interact with anyone. I just want to reach the boarding gate. And this was much before Digiyatra was even thought through, but this was something which we achieved now. It's a completely health risk-free process that we have built, because you don't need to exchange documents, no touching of equipment. Everything happens on your own phone. And what we have seen is that it enhances the throughputs. And many people also complain that we have dedicated lanes for Digiyatra. And these dedicated lanes for Digiyatra are like, normally, okay, no one is there. And you see a long queue in those manual lanes. There are multiple reasons, right? And Rohit, we were having that chat. So multiple reasons. One is that it is fast. So you will not find too many people there, unless, of course, the local device has something wrong, right? Something has gone wrong with it. But otherwise, it's something which is faster. There is another reason. Why is the manual queue longer? Because there are more people, first of all. The process is slower. More people because people are wary about, okay, this is another government surveillance program, which it is not, which I will explain to you. Moving on, I think the enrollment process perhaps is, maybe I would like to ask this question. How many of you have used Digiyatra? It's almost the full house, so maybe I need to skip this slide, right? I'll rather focus on what I'm planning to do in the future, which is automated border control. So imagine, and there is, you might also be knowing that there is this program called as Trusted Traveler Program, which many countries have started. And in that Trusted Traveler Program, you need to do an application process, come to a kiosk, scan your passport, submit your fingerprints, etc., and then you get enrolled. And what happens after that is that you get seamless experience in that airport or in that country, right? You can't carry that experience to the next country where you are landing. And this is after 10 hours of flight, you reach a destination, maybe Berlin. And once you reach Berlin, you will find that there is this long, massive queue to get your immigration process completed. Digiyatra will help you over there, because you'll be able to share your credentials even to the destination airport, and vice versa. So that's something which we are working on. Our prototype is tested, and already sort of 6 months of prototype testing at Land Port Authority of India. And this is not an airport, it's a land port where there is a border crossing between Bangladesh and India. Vice versa, we had 2 lanes entering into India and exiting out of India. And for 6 months, it's been tested already. So we'll carry forward that experience. Moving on. So the fact that it's bringing you a lot of convenience, it's secure and private. And this is one of my important messages, right? Privacy preserving, privacy by design. And there is that 0, right? No data stored in any central repository. And I think the rest of the stuff you have already understood, right? Sustainable is something which we feel that we are adding towards sustainability, because multiple aspects, apart from printing your A4 size Aadhaar printout to printing your boarding card, none of that is required. You just walk through everything. That is one contribution. The second contribution is that India is a growing aviation market. And in this rapidly growing aviation market, you will see that every new airport has got, okay, a new terminal is being built, a new runway is being laid out. And that's the brick and mortar way of catering to the traffic growth. But what is a better way of doing it is to have much more efficient processes. And that's something which we deliver. I would say, in the end, when we really look at it, right, we are doing these time and motion studies. I feel that anywhere between 20 to 30% enhancement in the passenger processing capability of a terminal is possible, which means that 20 to 30% smaller buildings, right, which means that much lesser carbon footprint. So huge sustainability benefits as well. That's how we are changing travel. And this is a favorite slide of my colleague, right? And we have these T-shirts, very interesting T-shirts. We got 4 colors. All 4 colors, we got these T-shirts. And we have this tagline. There is a campaign going on saying that, don't know your customer, right? And we do not know you. So this is what we exactly want to say. The Digiyatra has been rolled out from 23 months. We have got more than 38 million travels that we have enabled. Uh, 8 million user base we have crossed, and we still don't know you, right? I think that is the important message here. Uh, Moving on, so from an architecture perspective, what we are doing is actually at, I would say, not cutting edge, it's at the bleeding edge of technology, which is self-sovereign identity. And self-sovereign identity itself says, right, which is you yourself are the owner of your data, and you are in charge of your data, in control of your data. You know where you are sharing your data, you know when it is being shared, what is that data being shared, everything is in your control. So that's the whole thing, where passenger is in the center, owner. This wallet is nothing but the DigiYatra app, and this is where all your credentials sit. There is an issuer today, which is DigiYatra Central Ecosystem, or the foundation, which issues credentials. We have government IDs, which are used as a reference starting point. This is Aadhaar today, and of course, Aadhaar will now be also, we'll add driving license, we'll add electronic passports, so all that will also get added. But if you see, the passenger is the one who is in charge. All the credentials are stored only in the passenger's phone. So I was mentioning, right, 8 million users. These 8 million users are the owners of their data, and it is in their own phone. Imagine if somebody wants to hack DigiYatra's database. There is no database that we have. So it will mean that 8 million phones have to be hacked to get these data points, right? So that's how difficult it is, and it is self-sovereign identity. We use verifiable credentials. Verifiable credentials are nothing but soft form of your physical ID. It has the same data, but it's an encrypted form of data. And we use decentralized identifiers. There is a nuance to the decentralized identifiers. So if you have your Aadhaar number, your 12-digit Aadhaar number, I remember my Aadhaar number very easily, right? So many times that I've used. And then if I were to use this Aadhaar number for multiple touch points for an identity validation, what did I leave behind? I left my Aadhaar number behind, meaning that somebody can trail me with that number. So the decentralized identifiers that we use, it's based on a session. So you create a session, meaning that you're sharing your credential to the airport. A pair of DIDs are created, which are unique for that transaction. And after that, if you have another conversation, another set of DIDs are created. So it will never allow anyone to trail you. And that's how I think we want to, and this is something which I still feel bad, right? I mean, we focused on the technology, we didn't focus on the messaging. And many people started to say surveillance is happening, et cetera, et cetera. So this is something which is important message. Again, I would like to reiterate that, I want you all to carry and spread the word, right? And I have these experiences where I finish an event, as soon as I get off the dais, somebody comes to me. And this is mostly I speak in tech events. And this guy comes to me and says, Suresh, I was happy that you explained this to me. All this while I did not install DigiYatra because I was thinking it is stored in some central repository, my data could be stolen, misused, etc. Now I understand, so I'm going to install. So yeah, that's one key message that I would like to leave behind. This is just another way, and it is picked from W3C standards, right? Where it is clear, right? What we have is this DigiYatra Central Ecosystem has got this verifiable data registry. So every time a credential is issued, what we do is we create a hash out of that credential and store that hash value. That hash value can never be used to recreate any credential because it's just a hash of some data, right? Data string. But it is helpful in multiple ways. When you share your credentials to the airport needs to know that this is authentic data, not been tampered with, right? So it's a tamper-evident check that we can do. If the hash value does not match, that means some smart guy has hacked into his or her phone and then changed some of the parameters. Maybe a name has been changed or a face has been changed, etc. So it does that, so it's completely tamper-evident, and that's the thing that we maintain. Going forward, right? Okay, this is, I think we spoke about these stats, right? 8 million we have crossed already, and we are doing good in rating as well, 4 and above. I'll speak a little bit about our future. I've got 5 more minutes. I'll want to leave the floor open for some questions as well. So we started our journey with a vision of being the travel stack of India. And what does it mean? So you travel. So when you're traveling, uh, there is air travel, which is the airport travel that you have. But then, of course, that's not the end of it, right? You are going somewhere. You're checking into a hotel. Maybe you want to visit some monument or some historical place or whatever, right? And there will be need for your identity to be validated at one of these locations. For all those, we would want, Digiyatra to be used, credentials to be used as an enabler. And I've been in Delhi for the past week, right? This whole week I've been here and visited many IT parks, and wherever you go, it's like a painful process, right? At the entry itself, ground level, you have got one entry you have to make, you have to punch in your number, name, and now you are not even thinking about people who are crying about data privacy and all that happily have to give all this. A photo is captured, you need to enter your identity details. Then you reach the actual office, it's the same process again, and it's such a painful thing. So we would want to change all that. Just a credential, share it, and then be validated, and it's completely seamless. So the travel stack of India is something which we want to take the whole journey forward. We are working with IATA, and IATA has a concept called as One ID. This One ID concept is a global concept. IATA is setting all the standards for One ID. And while these standards are being set, right, there's no one who has done any pilot. I mean, pilots, yes, but no rollouts per se. So ours is the biggest of its kind at scale, at volume, rollout of self-sovereign identity or One ID, as you would like to say. And that, I think, is a pride moment for India, and we have been setting the benchmark across the world for many things, right? Our Aadhaar platform, or you can say our UPI, all these are benchmarks, and we've been like almost spoiled, right? Not carrying cash or even credit card or debit cards, right? We don't carry any of these, but when you go overseas, you need to have that. But I think it's a different benchmark that we are setting, and this is another that we are going to set globally. So we are working with IATA, and we've done the initial workshop, and very soon you will see that there might be a prototype or a pilot testing that will happen between two countries, end-to-end seamless travel. So that is something which will be coming soon. We also felt that we should connect with you in your own language, and I'll tell you the reason. This thought was triggered when I was just looking into social media, and one of the YouTube videos that I saw was, this guy says he's a simpleton, right? I mean, today Aam Aadmi travels by air. Simpleton, he's wearing slippers. He has a gamcha, and he says, "Chappal aur gamche mein Maharaja ki savari, Digiyatra ke saath." And it was like such a powerful statement for me. Not that, of course, as CEO, I would feel pride that somebody is appreciating Digiyatra, but that was not the point there. The point was that this Aam Aadmi is saying that it is giving him that experience, and this is what we want to deliver. You go to any loyalty program, you are a gold member, platinum member, you get the priority to enter the aircraft first. But here, an Aam Aadmi can reach boarding gates in 6 minutes. I've done it in 5 minutes in Bangalore T2, and I urge people to beat that, right? Cross all these 3 touch points and enter the boarding area in 5 minutes at any airport in India. You can do it only with Digiyatra. So there is this tagline, Digiyatra hai na. So coming back to this story of Chappal aur Gamche mein Maharaja ki savari Digiyatra ke saath, this guy is walking and somebody shooting the video, and he's just walking through, right? Simple, plain process. So I began to think that, why don't I connect with everyone? And there is this barrier, and many people keep speaking, and coming back to that discussion, Rohit, right? We had the discussion as to why not so many people use Digiyatra. Could be this is a barrier. So we want to take away that barrier. So the app will speak to you in your own language. And we may have an avatar also. So that's my dream, that there will be an avatar. As soon as you launch the app, avatar will come. Ye kijiye, yahan par button dabaiye, ye number daliye, OTP aa gaya hai, whatever, right? I mean, sorry, my Hindi is not that great, but point is that you will get assistance, and that barrier of language itself will first of all go. And that's the thing we are working on. We might use Bhashini, not very sure, but our team is deliberating on what would be the best approach to get all languages, right? Yeah, I think more or less done with my presentation. Don't know whether I got any other slides. Oh, yeah. I think we spoke about these, right? Passport-based is being prototype tested, driving license-based also. And yeah, we have done some features. Today, you can actually send, so if you got image of your boarding pass, you can use that image and share it to DigiYatra directly from the image. You don't need to open DigiYatra app. Many people don't know it. We are doing some campaigns around that. That is one feature. Another is, imagine you are on Air India check-in app, or app, you'll have to use the app. And then you got the option, you've done your check-in, save boarding pass, send it to an email, are the two options you have today. Third option will be send it to DigiYatra, and you can send it directly. So that's something which we are working on. And then once we build that interface, right, there is a lot of other options that happens, which is maybe you want to change your seat to aisle seat. All those options could also start to come up. And yes, the last one is multilingual app with the AI chatbot. I think that's it. Finally, I think a reiteration of what we want to do, right? And this again, verifiable ID credentials, and this token is something which we have already done, tested. And all that you have to do is take the DigiYatra credential. Either you tap the phone on a device, maybe you are at a hotel. It exchanges your credentials, which is your face. And if the hotel needs your name, maybe the name. But the face is not exchanged as face image, not the ISO image, but it is just a template. And it validates you and says green check, ID validated. 100% privacy preserving, right? Your data, whatever template that person has, cannot be converted back to a face. So that's something. There's another very interesting thought. Sorry, my time is up. Another interesting thought, which is zero knowledge proof-based loyalty. So we spoke about the power of data and data feeding into AI and then getting hyper-personalization done. But how about the personally identifiable information? How do you protect that? So with this token will be your token where perhaps, I want this token to be shared to, say, Starbucks, and I like my hot chocolate at Starbucks, right? And if I am around a Starbucks, maybe I would be happy to avail any offer, discount, or whatever. So the token will work as me, and then convey that, okay, Suresh is in this nearby, and maybe if you have an offer for a hot chocolate, please. So that's something which will really change the ball game, because today loyalty program means that your profile is with a particular entity, and this entity again with the DPDPA enforcement will run into the risk of data loss, theft, leakage, pilferage. So how do you get rid of all those risks? So this could be one way, which I'm thinking of. I need somebody to build this, right? What else? And then, ultimate number of use cases. So there was an interaction with an industry partner, and they came up with 100 use cases using DigiYatra. And how do we make this happen, right? And we are a very small team, so under 20 only. And under 20 is only to impress you guys, right? So I told somebody, she asked me, how big is your team? I said, under 20. She heard it to be 120. I said, no, sorry, under 20. We're still lesser than that. But the whole point is, we can't think of all the use cases. So we are opening up our innovation sandbox environment, and will allow people to use our SDKs, our credentials, to test anything that they want. Come to us, and then we'll make them an issuer or a verifier. And you are up and running. You could use the DigiYatra credentials or a white labeled sort of a solution. So that's something which we want to enable, and I think that's my last slide. Thank you very much, and I don't know, okay, it's over time by 3 minutes. I thought you were giving me another 3 minutes. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Apologies on that. We would have loved to entertain more questions, but due to paucity of time, if we could, of course, request our audience to further network with him in the networking break. But for the time being, let's give him a big, big round of applause. What a fantastic... And if I may request you to please stay back, as we'd like to invite on stage Mr. Chandan Mukherjee, MMA India. India, Board Member, Director and Executive Vice President, Strategy, Marketing and Communications of Nestle India, who would like to personally come and express his gratitude and, of course, a token of appreciation. What an iconic moment, learning about the journey of DigiYatra and, of course, what the leadership entails as the future holds. We couldn't have had a better start. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, a bigger and a mighty round of applause. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for gracing us on this occasion. Thank you so much.